it's time for Toker Talk Radio, the voice of the marijuana nation.
What are you people? On dope?
Where you can toke.
I inhale frequently.
Or you can talk.
I experimented with marijuana and didn't inhale.
Or you can toke and talk.
10 federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
While we talk about toke on Toker Talk Radio.
So, by the way, when it comes to pot, if you're 40 years old, you live in a log cabin in Oregon, you got 12 giant pot plants in your backyard, have a ball.
Live from beautiful Portland, Oregon at Rolla J Studios.
Hey, this is great. Just not cannabis.
Plus your calls live at 971-533-7111.
They're walking on their pants with their cap on backwards, listening to Enema Man and Snoopy Poop Dog.
What's to keep somebody from getting all potted up on weed and then getting behind the wheel? Gateway theory doesn't work. It's a reality.
Holland, is it real? Don't tease me.
We're locking up people that take a couple of puffs of marijuana, and the next thing you know, they got 10 years.
And now, here's your host, the guru of ganja graphics, the sultan of sativa statistics, and the worst nightmare of a reefer mad prohibitionist. A polite, perspicacious, productive pothead with a propensity for PowerPoint. Radical Russ Belville.
Welcome back, everyone. 4:02 in the Pacific Time Zone. Time for Toker Talk Radio. Still talking about fundamentalist legalizers, the people who say, if we can't legalize all the marijuana all the time, everywhere, for anybody, anywhere, anytime, any way we want, then by God, we're voting against anything else. Those people. Formerly known as the Stoners Against Legalization, which is somewhat inaccurate because they are for legalization, just only their true legalization. So, I've changed their name, Fundamentalist Legalizers. And I had one of them hit me up on Facebook, and I tried to explain to her that this isn't theory anymore. We're not talking about theories and hypotheses about how we're going to legalize marijuana. It's been done 4 times now. We know the formula. Poll language that gets majority support. Raise funds in the millions of dollars. Hire professional campaign staff. Win. That's how it works. And the perfect example of this is what I lived through. I don't come to this opinion living in Kansas, watching it from afar and wishing what might happen. I've actually lived through both the negative and positive example of this. In Oregon, we tried the type of legalization that the true legalizers preferred. Now, Oregon's a small enough state, population-wise, media market-wise, that it was actually possible for one guy to use a large amount of his own funds to get just enough signatures to make the ballot. This happened in 2012. It was personal possession with no limits. Personal cultivation with no limits. It went farther than CCHI goes. CCHI caps that at 12 pounds and 99 plants. Oregon's Octa was unlimited. And guess what? It got 46% of the vote. 46% of the vote in a presidential election year in a state with 20% annual marijuana consumption, in a state that has medical marijuana for 16 years, in a state that votes reliably blue. True legalization got 46% of the vote. At the same time that corporate legalization in Washington and Colorado were passing with 55%. So for an entire 2 years, Oregonians had to remain criminals while their counterparts in Washington and Colorado were free. And then we followed that up in 2014 with a corporate-style legalization, 1 ounce possession, 4 plants, 8 ounces at home, and it got, guess what, 56.1% of the vote. The highest support for statewide marijuana legalization ever. This isn't theory anymore. We know how to win legalization elections. And what doesn't win them are the hippy-dippy, true believer, pie-in-the-sky, Jack Harrowite fundamentalist legalization proposals that don't get polled, don't get funding, don't get enough signatures, don't make the ballot, and don't pass. Now, I had another one come back at me and pointed out that there was polling. There was polling on CCHI. Because I said, what? Here's my specific questions. How much money does CCHI have bankrolled or pledged? And how well does CCHI's specific language poll? That's all I need to know. And an answer that I got back referred to, and let's see if I can get this here. It doesn't take $55 million to bankroll. We need less than $1 million to pay for signatures. Okay. I doubt that. But let's say that's true. You get your $1 million, which you don't have yet. But let's say you do. But you get your $1 million. You collect all your signatures. Now where's your money for the campaign? As Sheldon Adelson and the Koch brothers funnel in $10 million to defeat California legalization, where's your $20 million for the TV ads to fight against that? You need tens of millions of dollars for California. You just do. And then this person writes, our polls in the last campaign showed over 56% support based on language from the CCHI legalization model. Well, I thought that was interesting. I asked for a hyperlink to such poll, but never got one, so I decided to just look it up for myself. First poll I found was the latest Public Policy Institute of California poll, which polls for legalization at 53%. That 53% legalization is for the question, in general, do you think the use of marijuana should be legal or not? That's in general. That's somebody being able to, in their own mind, to decide what legal is. That's not a question asking, should Californians be allowed to possess 12 pounds of marijuana and grow 99 marijuana plants without penalty? So it couldn't have been that poll. But she seemed pretty adamant that there was a 56% poll, so I kept looking. And I found another one, which was a 2013 field poll, California field poll. And it says, quote, when read a summary of the CCHI initiative's official ballot description, 56% say they are inclined to vote yes, while 39% would vote no. And I thought, oh no, maybe she's got me there. When read the summary of the CCHI official ballot description. So I looked that up. And the CCHI official ballot summary reads, legalizes cannabis hemp, creates and funds new cannabis hemp-based industries and jobs. Permits the use of marijuana by adults 21 and older and licenses, regulates, enforces, and taxes recreational marijuana sales just like beer and wine. Requires that 50% of excise taxes collected from the sales of recreational cannabis be made available to be used for the development, promotion, and assistance in the creation of industrial, nutritional, and medicinal cannabis hemp industries. Prohibits any and all taxation of medical cannabis, prohibits cities and counties from discriminating on cannabis outlets, allows farmers to grow industrial hemp, restricts the use of genetically modified cannabis seeds, ends the practice of drug testing for cannabis metabolites, mandates the state establish performance-based standards for impairment, allows for the release and discharge of people currently being punished for nonviolent marijuana offenses, removes cannabis from the Uniform Controlled Substances Act, allows for personal use of possession of cannabis grown for personal consumption, caps the excise tax at 10%, caps the license fees at $1,000, allows a physician to approve medicinal cannabis. Anything in there you think is missing? Did anything sound like I didn't cover it? That was just not in that list? Oh yeah, the part about 99 plants and 12 pounds is not in that ballot description. And maybe I'm wrong, because that's the 2014 ballot description. This was a 2013 field poll, so it had to go off the 2012 CCHI ballot summary. So maybe that one read differently. But it's a pretty slim thread to hang your hat on there. Reading a ballot description that doesn't mention what would probably be the most controversial parts of the ballot, and claiming 56% of the people would support that. And again, let's say the people will support it. Let's pretend, let's click our heels, clap 3 times for Tinkerbell. Let's pretend that it does make the ballot. Where's the money to campaign for it? And are the people going to buy it? I mean, we might be in a situation where the people would support this thing. Maybe they would. Where's the money to get it on the ballot? Even this poster's own point. We only need $1 million to get it on the ballot. Where's your $1 million? That's what we need from you. That's all we need is some realism here. Be realistic. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Ohio side of the ledger. There's some new scandal in Ohio to talk about. We'll cover that right when we come back.
5 of the last 9 major party candidates to run for president, 3 of the last 9 vice presidential candidates, and the last 3 two-term presidents have all smoked pot. Marijuana, the gateway drug to the White House. This is the Russ Belville Show. You can get 420 Radio on the go with our Shoutcast stream for all internet-enabled media players. Go to rad-r.us/420shout or just click the Shoutcast icon below the live radio feed at 420radio.org.
420 Radio is brought to you by Sacred Serum, who is focused on creating elegant and sophisticated cannabis solutions through its line of dispensers and vaporizers that come preloaded with the world's finest cannabis concentrate. Sacred Serum's concentrate is made on pharmaceutical-grade supercritical CO2 extraction machines that use absolutely no butane or other toxic chemicals. The Vesica, the company's innovative new way to dab and frost, is now available in dispensaries across California. Sacred Serum, elegance and sophistication concentrated.
Funky Roller Ring.
This is Big Daddy, and I want you to join me every Thursday night for some good old soul, funk, and disco at the Funky Roller Ring on 420 Radio. You dig?
Are you tired of storing your herb in back alley baggies? Then keep your herb fresh and protected with Pottles. Pottles are airtight and odor-free. Not to mention they're reusable, BPA-free, and UV-resistant. Pottles come in a variety of sizes, styles, and colors, so go check out Pottles at mypottles.com. Use the code STASH to get an additional 10% off. Again, that's mypottles.com, mypottles.com, and tell them Radical Russ sent you.
They'll stone you when you're trying to be so good. They'll stone you just like they said they would. They'll stone you when you're trying to go home. They'll stone you when you're left all alone. I would not be so all alone. Everybody must get stoned. They'll stone you when you're walking on the street. They'll stone you when you're trying to keep your seat. They'll stone you when you're walking on the floor. They'll stone you when you're walking to the door. I would not feel so all alone. Everybody must get stoned.
Yes, folks, that's music that you recognize, don't you? That's Bob Dylan's Rainy Day Women, number 12 and 35. By the way, 12 times 35? 420. But can you guess who's covering it? Give it another listen.
They'll stone you when you say that it's the end. They'll stone you and then you'll come back again. They'll stone you when you're riding in your car. They'll stone you when you're playing your guitar. I would not feel so all alone. Everybody must get stoned. All right.
Great guesses out there in the chat room. Arlo Guthrie, Hank Williams, Johnny Cash, all good guesses, but no, folks. That's Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs. You probably know them best from the Ballad of Jed Clampett on the Beverly Hillbillies. Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs, the pickin' and grinnin' version, I guess, of Rainy Day Women, number 12 and 35. Welcome back. Radical Russ here at the Rolla J Studios in Portland, Oregon, where it's raining outside. It's been raining all day. And I got some news on the whole Responsible Ohio thing. There's a new development going on in this Responsible Ohio thing. For those of you who don't know, Responsible Ohio is the group that has a group of 10 investors who've put up $36 million to legalize in the state of Ohio on the condition that only they get to be the commercial growers. Hey, it kind of sucks, but it's legalization. You'd get pot shops, you'd get home grow, you'd get to possess marijuana. Probable cause would go away. Drug dogs wouldn't work no more, but there would be a grow cartel. That would kind of suck. Well, the latest allegations come from the Ohio Rights Group, which has filed a complaint with their elections division that two of the people from the Responsible Ohio group, one of whom was originally a close family friend or childhood friend of the leader of the Ohio Rights Group, infiltrated the Ohio Rights Group and then absconded with donor information, donors, contacts, and that kind of stuff. That's the latest story. Now, I'm still digging into this. I've gotten some calls from some of my contacts in Ohio on the issue, so I'm looking into that as well. I guess it depends on how you frame this stuff, right? It could be one of those situations where the people got involved with Ohio Rights Group, discovered that, hey, it was kind of not going anywhere, and then decided to go form something else that would be more professional. And in doing so, the funders that knew them from Ohio Rights Group maybe jumped ship to do the new thing. I don't know. I'm speculating. Maybe that's way. I always try to find a way, like, when someone tells me this evil skullduggery that's going on, right? I have a very strong skepticism against conspiracy theory and skullduggery and all that, right? I mean, not that I don't believe it happens. It's just I need to see some evidence of it happening. I can't just take someone's word for this person was an asshole and did that and this. Well, maybe. Let's find out the facts of this. And when it comes to malice and ill intent, there's a great saying. There's a great saying out there that is from Edward Tufte. He's a Princeton professor and hailed as the genius of visual display of data. He's one of my cult heroes, right? He's the Neil deGrasse Tyson of graphics, of informational graphics. Okay, let's put it that way. All right, whatever. So Tufte says, never attribute to malice or never attribute to malice or ill intent that which can be explained by incompetency and muddling through. Right? Sometimes we think people are out to get us when really they're just fucking up. They don't know what they're doing either, right? And they didn't intend anything bad out of it. It's just they didn't know what the hell they were doing. Keep that in mind.
Hey, bud, let's party.
All right, folks, it's 4:20 here in Portland, Oregon. I got my vape pen ready. I hope you're able to enjoy this 420. And if not, I'm going to keep fighting every day until you can. And I'll fight anybody that stands up against your right to smoke weed. Even the people who are the true legalizers, who think they're doing the right thing, but they're really stopping you from smoking.
You can get 420 Radio on the go with the TuneIn Radio app for all mobile platforms. Go to rad-r.us/420tunein or just click the TuneIn Radio icon below the live radio feed on 420radio.org. Oregon has joined Washington and Colorado in legalizing marijuana. We're Portland NORML, the national organization for the reform of marijuana laws chapter in Portland, Oregon. Join us as we celebrate the launch of an exciting new era in marijuana freedom in Oregon. Our job has just begun. Powerful interests want to white out the most important portions of Oregon's legalization law. By joining Portland NORML, you add your voice to the thousands who voted for Measure 91 and want it to be implemented as written. The people have spoken. Now it is time for the legislature to obey the will of the people. Find out more about Portland NORML at portlandnormal.org. Attend our monthly membership meetings on the fourth Saturday of the month. See our website for more details. Portland NORML, ensuring responsible adult marijuana consumers are afforded the same rights, privileges, and responsibilities as beer drinkers. The Fingerboard Extension has fretted instruments to enhance your creativity. It has new and used guitars and banjos from beginning to high class. The Fingerboard Extension has National Resophonic, Husson Dalton, Larrabee, Heritage and Recording King guitars, and Mike Ramsey, Wildwood, Gold Tone, and Recording King banjos. The Fingerboard Extension also has drum stuff, used gear, and parts. Stop by the Fingerboard Extension, downtown Corvallis, Oregon at 120 Northwest 2nd, or check out the inventory on the web at fingerboardextension.com and reverb.com. Get.Buzz. .Buzz is the internet platform that fuels community interest, excitement, and new experiences. .Buzz is the premier online destination for internet users seeking the latest news on a variety of topics. .Buzz appeals to groups active in blogging, communications, journalism, advertising, and marketing. .Buzz offers registrants a stronger alternative to the shrinking namespace of existing top-level domain names, such as .com, .net, and .org. Get your name now at get.buzz.
Everyone knows music and marijuana go together, so let's wind up our 20 after break with the Russ Belville Show's Daily Toker Tunes, the best in pod-safe 420 music from around the web. Today is Rockin' Friday, featuring rock, metal, and the hard edge of alternative country. Now, sit back and enjoy your Daily Toker Tune.
All right, folks, for the past couple of days I've been pissed off and mad about it, so I got to get my rock and roll on, and there's one man who can do that better than anyone else. He's made of metal and marijuana. It's Herb Thrasher on the line. What's up, Herb?
Man, doing great. Having a great day coming off this amazing stonerific night last night at Portland's 3-day Stump Fest Music Festival held at Mississippi Studios. Last night I went, and it was kind of the stoner rock portion of the night with bands, headlining band Daneva, and then Lord Dying, who's been on the show before, and Lecturus Gaze, and Black Pussy, who I definitely love and been on the show, and Sons of Huns and Prize Hog. So it was a great night hanging out. Got to talk to a lot of these bands and meet people and take pictures with the phone, shitty pictures, and so it was all good stuff. And really enjoyed hanging out. And tonight there's more bands. We're going to have a great Herb Thrasher Flower Hour welcoming In the Whale. And they're a great band from legalized Denver, Colorado, and they're on the road right now with Agent Orange, punk legendary band Agent Orange, and they're going to be at Dante's, and they're going to call in the show around 8:10, and we're going to talk to them about their brand new album Full Nelson, and about the tour and everything that's going on within the Whale, and then play other tunes and kind of hang out and do what we always do. But getting back to music, we have today's Rockin' Friday tune, and that comes off of Last Night in a Way also, as Lord Dying played that show. Well, they're going to be on the road tonight, and they're going to be in Bend, and one of the bands that's opening up for Lord Dying is Portland's, and also Bend, is Ditch Digger. And these guys, 5 dudes from Portland, they're kind of spin-off bands from Portland's Proven and also Separation of Sanity. But they were founded in 2008, and this tune that we're about to hear, Begin, was formed then also. And since then, they've done many shows, played all kinds of different bands. And they're just kind of a rock, metal kind of band, a little bit of southern rock in there, but definitely just pretty much straight up heavy metal, like a lot of smoking, a lot of jamming, and having a good time. You can find them on their Reverb Nation page, Ditch Digger PDX. They also have a Facebook page. And this tune right here is Begin by Ditch Digger. Join us tonight for Earth Basketball Hour. You guys have a safe weekend, and we'll see you soon. Turn it up, folks. Here's Ditch Digger.
Let's turn this shit up.
420 Radio is 24-hour marijuana legalization radio. Support for 420 Radio comes from Kick-Ass Cannabis and Veggies, a guide to gardening with nature, authored by Kip Zonderkopf. Based on the ethos that a living soil is the foundation of a thriving garden, Kick-Ass Cannabis and Veggies is your guide to naturally growing resinous buds and nutrient-rich veggies. Get the ebook now with instant download at kickassorganics.com. Previews available on Amazon, iTunes, Nook, Google Play, Kobo, and many other online retailers. Growing plants indoors can be a rewarding hobby, but electricity bills can go through the roof. Then you have to cool down all those big hot lights. It can drive a grower insane. With Lush LED lighting, you can solve many of these issues and double your rewards. Matt and his scientists have developed the perfect light for flowering plants with far less cost and heat. And the results? Very effective. Check out LushLEDlighting.com right now and tell them Radical Russ sent you.
Hey everybody, it's Radical Russ here from 420 Radio, inviting you to be like me and get your ink done at Lucky Horseshoe Tattoo, Fort Worth's most female-friendly, clean, sterile, awesome tattoo shop. Thomas and his crew are true artists who can design you a custom piece or use a design you bring in. Lucky Horseshoe Tattoo also offers all styles of tattooing as well as piercings and all-around fun. In the DFW area, stop by Lucky Horseshoe Tattoo and tell them Radical Russ sent you. Trust me, it'll feel awesome.
It's all going to pot, or whether we like it or not. Best I can tell, the world's gone to hell, and we're sure gonna miss it a lot. All of the whiskey in Lynchburg, Tennessee, just couldn't hit the spot. I got $100 bill, friend, you keep your pills, cause it's all going to pot.
That's the red-headed stranger, Willie Nelson, with Merle Haggard, and it's all going to pot right here on 420 Radio. Welcome back to the show. It's Toker Talk Radio. Our phone lines are open at 84-420 Radio. That's 844-207-2346. It's toll free if you want to call, or you can dial direct at 971-533-7111. Topic for the day has been fundamentalist legalization. Fundamentalist legalizers, the people who believe that the legalization is just no good unless it's their legalization. And what's interesting about this is that, you know, I'm kind of stunned by the fact that we've got, 5 different groups in California taking a shot at legalization, and another 5 different groups in Ohio taking a shot at legalization. And it's just telling to me that that to me is just an indication of people not taking seriously enough the opportunity that's in front of them. You know, this isn't rocket science. This is, like I said, not theory anymore. We figured out how to legalize. So when there were already 2 or 3 groups trying to legalize, what was the point of forming the 4th one? What was the point of funding the 5th one? And it all, you know, now to the extent there is to some extent the medical side of things. At least in Ohio, there's that, you know, one of the groups out there is fighting for medical only, which honestly would be probably the safest bet in Ohio. But that notwithstanding, if there are already groups in these states with serious organization, national backing, professional campaigners, and millions in backing, why start another group? Why not work with that group? Why not help that group that's already got most of the pieces in place? Why not help take them over the finish line? Well, because it's not true legalization. So we can't support it. And I decided that I would look up, you know, as I was thinking about this new handle of fundamentalist legalizers, that I would look up the characteristics of fundamentalism. And I think it's quite telling. Now, the article is about fundamentalist religion. But I think that a lot of this applies to fundamentalist legalizers. Let's take a look. The 10 characteristics of fundamentalism. Number 1, reactionary. They react, they're reactionary, they oppose the new and the modern things. I don't know if that applies so much to the legalizers, but exclusive certainly does. Fundamentalists believe that they alone have access to objective truth and absolute morality. And you hear that from the fundamentalist legalizers who will, quote Jack Herer and Emperor Wears No Clothes as exclusive truths, and only they know that cannabis is hemp and cannabis is oil, and only they know that it's harmless and everybody should be able to grow as much of it as they like. Fundamentalists tend to be absolutists. They take a stance against what they consider to be the dangers of relativism. Because they have access to the objective truth, anything less is a weakness. And you see that in their refusal to support incremental legalizations. They're absolutist. That's not legalization. That's just continuing prohibition. When we make it so cops can't arrest people for an ounce or less, we're just continuing prohibition. Okay. All right. Kind of like curing polio is just continuing diseases. Okay. Another feature of fundamentalists is they're literalists. They believe their sources express literal truths. I see that from the fundamentalists all the time. You see it in their evangelizing for Emperor Wears No Clothes. Hemp will save the planet. Even though numerous claims in the Emperor Wears No Clothes have been debunked. I mean, for example, there's that claim, 1 acre of hemp produces the same paper as 4 acres of trees. Well, the study they got that from was a little bit rigged, as far as they were comparing a stand of trees in a non-agricultural kind of forested setting to a perfectly pristine perfect arable farmland for hemp. Right? So it wasn't an apples to apples comparison. If you compare it to stands of trees that are farmed for paper, the comparison doesn't hold. And it also doesn't take into account the fact that in order to get that hemp growing on arable farmland, you have to stop growing something else on that arable farmland. And then there's a whole other bunch of considerations. Now, I don't mean to say this to dismiss the potential of hemp in this country. By no means do I want to do that. Hemp is an amazing product and it should be legal and we can do wonderful things with it. But I think the fundamentalists, these absolute literalists, oversell it. They oversell it, right? I mean, hemp is good enough without having to oversell it, that it's going to save the planet. Really? Hemp's going to reverse global climate change? Yeah, I know that using hemp, fuel and planting hemp's going to reduce our carbon output, but it's not going to reverse the damage that we've done so far. And is hemp going to replace the heavy metals that they use to make iPhones, that they mine in very environmentally dangerous ways? Is hemp going to clean up that 1 mile wide floating island of plastic garbage in the Pacific Ocean? Is hemp going to restore 90% of the fisheries that have been overfished? I mean, yes, hemp's going to be a wonderful thing. Hemp's going to do amazing things for us, but we oversell it. And we oversell medical marijuana too. We oversell so much of this. And that is part of that literalist tradition of fundamentalism. Then there's selectivity. This is another feature of fundamentalism. Religious fundamentalists tend to tailor their beliefs in order to fit well with their reactive worldview. So they will find a way to justify what they believe selectively. Don't have a good example for that. Authoritarian. I don't think that really applies to our fundamental. Well, maybe it does a little. Maybe it does a little in this, Jack Herer instance. That Jack Herer is a saint and you cannot question anything he ever said or believed in. With or against, members of a religious fundamentalist group have the burden of being either completely in the group or set apart from it as an enemy. Well, actually, that's more what I'm doing, to tell you the truth. If you are voting against me not being a criminal anymore for pot smoking, you're against me. I guess that's on me. Strict morality, end time certainty, and violence, I don't think those really apply. So there's some aspects of fundamentalism that might apply, not as significantly as they apply to religion, but this is the battle I've been fighting lately. Dealing with, lately. I've been doing it since 2010. Can't believe how much hate I got off of support for Prop 19. Because I was supporting Californians being able to have a 5x5 garden and 1 ounce legally. I was the devil. I was terrible for supporting that. Don't you know you're supporting an Oakland monopoly? 1 ounce? Why, that means people with 2 ounces would still get busted. 5x5 garden? Why, that's way too small. And what happens if you have a 5x6 garden? They'll bust you. Those are the kind of people I've been dealing with. And scratch the surface of them, and underneath most of them, you find some financial connection to the way things are. You find a dispensary owner. This is what you had in 2010, was dispensary owners in California making no on Prop 19 flyers and putting them in the bags with the marijuana purchases for the patients who would be coming into their dispensaries. Actively campaigning among the people who've already got their protection from arrest to prevent me from getting protection from arrest. And it's fascinating to me, too, how they'll say they want the perfect legalization, they want the right legalization. And then when you say, well, if you don't vote for this, it's still going to be illegal, they'll go, well, you can always just get your card. In California, they'll say, well, why don't you just get your card and then just be legal that way? Well, why don't you just get your card? Well, if that's the answer, then why don't we just admit that the medical marijuana system in California is just a quasi form of legalization? If the answer is, well, just get your card, you're admitting to me that this whole medical thing in California is largely shenanigans to get around a recreational ban. Let's just admit that. Let's stop hiding behind the 99th percentile quadriplegic cancer-ridden AIDS patient with post-traumatic stress disorder and epilepsy who needs 20 pounds of marijuana a day to live. And I don't mean to disparage that person, but that's where the fundamentalists run to as soon as you start questioning any of this stuff. When it comes to medical marijuana, the first place they'll go is to drag out the strongest outlier mascot candidate they've got, poster child for medical marijuana, and then pretend like that's everyone who's shopping at a California dispensary. And pretend that that's what's going on in medical marijuana in California and elsewhere. Folks, nobody buys it anymore. And I'm refusing to not call it out anymore. It was easy to keep quiet on this when I thought medical marijuana was leading to legalization. But as soon as I saw medical marijuana people fighting legalization, came time to start calling it out.
Continue the conversation with Radical Russ online. Visit radicalruss.com and email radicalruss@gmail.com.
Science! When we come back, we're going to give you one more story for the day. This one coming out of my home state, actually my home city of Boise, Idaho. Tragic tale of a marijuana grower who is suing the cops for violating his constitutional rights. I'll tell you all about that when we come back from break.
.420 Radio, the activist radio station. Adam Hand of Handmade Apparel produces quality custom designs for t-shirts, hats, and other apparel. Handmade Apparel is the official design shop for 420 Radio among many clients who rely on Adam Hand for everything from short-run custom projects to full-run clothing lines. Visit handmadeapparel.biz to browse the selection of handmade gear or to get a personal quote for your own designs. Handmade Apparel, a proud supporter of 420radio.org.
Georgia. Hi, this is Willie Nelson. Alcohol prohibition didn't work in the 1920s, and marijuana prohibition isn't working today. It's time we stopped arresting responsible marijuana smokers. It's the fair thing to do.
For more information, contact NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. Call toll-free 888-67-NORML or visit their website at norml.org.
This is Radical Russ encouraging you to take a look at the Weed Blog every day. Johnny Green and the staff at the Weed Blog are on top of all the latest developments in the fight to end marijuana prohibition nationwide. You can even get the Weed Blog on your smartphone by installing the Weed Blog app for iPhone and Android. If it's about weed, it's on the Weed Blog, including my original writing. So don't delay, read the Weed Blog today.
Welcome back, everybody. That's the music you're going to hear on the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour tonight. Herb joins us at 8 p.m. Pacific time for 2 hours of live DJ'd rock and roll and metal. We've also got interviews with the movers and shakers in the rock and metal community. You want to check that out tonight and every Friday night live at 8 p.m. Pacific time, followed by at 10 o'clock Pacific time, a live DJ'd edition of Big Daddy Fink's Funky Roller Rink. That's right, the Funky Roller Rink's live on Fridays at 10 o'clock, followed at 11 o'clock by Electric Bob's Boogaloo, and at midnight by Gordon Green's Music Planet. So we've got 5 hours of music coming up for you starting at 8 p.m. tonight. And if you miss it tonight, you can catch it Saturday night at the exact same time, 8 p.m. through 1 a.m. Pacific time. 5 hours of 420 related rock, funk, soul, disco, electronic, and finally world music. It's going to be a good time. Hope you be there with us. All right, wanted to come back and talk a little bit about this story in Idaho that I happened upon today. There's a trial going on where an alleged pot grower is suing a deputy who lied to obtain a warrant. Now, the first thing that struck me in this story is that the man is representing himself. So, good luck. Shouldn't go into court without a lawyer, folks. Get a lawyer. But anyway, he's a resident of Boise, and he accuses a former county sheriff's deputy of planting evidence to convince a judge to authorize a search warrant. So, the officer in this case, the cop, is Deputy Stephen Craig. Okay? So this deputy swore on January 6, 2010, that he found marijuana clippings in bags of trash in a trash can outside of this man's home. He found him one time on December 29th, 2009, and a second time on January 6, 2010. By swearing that affidavit that he found marijuana clippings in this guy's trash, which by the way is legal. You know the cops can search through your trash, right? You put it on the curb, and the ruling of privacy is any place that a hobo or a raccoon could get into has no reasonable expectation of privacy. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically the way it works out. So anyway, based on the cops swearing that he found trim in this guy's garbage, got a search warrant. And in that search warrant, the cops found 27 marijuana plants, a pound of processed marijuana, scales, and packaging material. Well, when this went to trial, during the criminal proceedings, this man and his wife testified that at the time of December 29th, 2009 and January 6, 2010, there couldn't have been marijuana clippings in their trash because they were out for Christmas. They were out on holiday in Salt Lake City and hadn't put any trash out before they left. So before Christmas, they leave Boise, no trash on the curb, and the cop claims 4 days after Christmas there was marijuana trim in the guy's garbage. And then on the second date, the January 6, 2010 date, the man claims that they filled their trash can with rotting meat, fish, and other food pulled from a freezer that had got unplugged, and they hadn't bothered to put it in trash bags. They just put it right into the garbage can. So there was no marijuana leaves. There was just rotting food. So, at trial, the county judge at their criminal proceeding ruled that the evidence from the search warrant could not be entered because the cop lied. The judge ruled that the cop lied, and all the grow charges against this couple were dismissed. Now, the cops, the prosecutors, I should say, from Ada County, Idaho, said, no, this cop didn't intentionally try to mislead anyone. He didn't mean to lie twice about finding bags of pot trim in these guys' garbage. He didn't mean it. And they tried to have the judge reconsider the ruling. Never happened. Judgment, yeah, right. Cop lied. Forget it. So, the couple now have filed lawsuit in federal court against the cop. The cop has denied planting evidence or entering their property beforehand to collect evidence. Now, they filed this suit, but the wife had to be removed because she didn't list the lawsuit as a possible asset in a bankruptcy petition. So that's fine. We moved on to just the man filing the lawsuit against the cop. The cop worked for Ada County Sheriff's Office since July of 2005. He resigned in October 2011 and was rehired in 2012 by Canyon County Sheriff's Office. That's my home county in Nampa, Idaho. He's currently being represented, though, by Ada County. But here's the real shocker in this story. In the federal court, the man who was exonerated of the marijuana grow charges because a judge decided that the cop lied about evidence, the man can't enter that in his federal trial. What? Yes. The man who had a judge admit on the record that the cop had lied can't enter that as evidence in the federal trial against this cop who lied, who abused his constitutional rights. According to U.S. Magistrate Candy Dale, she ruled that they cannot introduce transcripts from the criminal case to prove that Craig lied. Quote, the state court granted McNeil's motion, finding Craig's search warrant affidavit contained false statements, and once purged of those statements, there was no probable cause to support the warrant. However, this court found that, despite the state court's ruling, the state court's findings cannot be used to sustain the same finding here. End quote. Can you believe that? So, you try to bust me by framing me, by lying to a judge, and it's proven. The judge admits that it's, rules that that's the case, that there's no alleged lie by the cop. It's in the court decision. The cop lied to get a warrant. And through doing so, put this man and his wife through hell, trying to fight for their freedom. And when he tries to sue for a little injunctive relief at federal court, the feds won't admit the evidence that proves the man's case. That he lied. That a cop lied to try to put this man behind bars. Now, there are some people out there that would say, well, Russ, they did find a grow there. The cop was right. Yeah, the cop was right, and that doesn't matter. See, a lot of people don't understand this. They're very authoritarian, they're very absolutist, and they don't understand that if civil rights don't protect the worst of us, they don't protect anybody. Criminals' civil rights have to be upheld, or we go down the slippery slope of not upholding anyone's civil rights. If we allowed that search warrant to stand because later on they did find plants, all we've done is given the green light to cops and prosecutors all across the country to act on their hunches. Well, this guy looks like a drug dealer, so let me lie about some plants in his backyard, and then we'll get a search warrant and find out if he really is. And if we don't find any plants, well, gee, no harm, no foul, right? That's the attitude a lot of people have. It's remarkable to me. And this story is pretty remarkable. I'll keep you posted on this as far as what happens in this case. The man's name is Brian J. McNellis. Brian J. McNellis. And he's like my age. He's like 41, I think, 42. Got kids. It's just amazing to me that they can't use the transcripts from the criminal trial in this other trial. I don't understand how that works. Maybe one of the lawyer types can explain it to me. All right, folks, we're starting to run out of time here for the week. I want to thank you. We've been out at the Cannabis Cup the first 3 days of this week, and hope you got to hear a lot of the replays of the different interviews and such that I did. If you didn't, this weekend, when we normally replay all 5 episodes of this week, for the first 3 hours, I'm going to replay all of the clips that I got from the Cannabis Cup. That's coming up this Saturday. Check out 420radio.org/schedule to find out exactly when in your time zone. Also, speaking of schedule, I am now officially confirmed to cover 2 more events in May. May 16th and 17th will be my first ever trip to the great state of Alaska. I'll be covering the Northwest Cannabis Classic in Anchorage, Alaska, looking to get interviews with the people who legalize there, as well as internet sensation Charlo Green. If we can get her on the air, that'll be cool. And I'll get to fill in a pot leaf on my tattoo. That'll be cool. And then May 20th and 21st, I will be joining activists from all around the country who are flying into Washington, D.C. for NORML's legislative fly-in. We're going to be lobbying our legislators on Capitol Hill. That'll be May 20th and 21st, and we'll bring you all the highlights we can on 420 Radio's The Russ Belville Show. But folks, that's all the time we got for this week. Time flies when you legalize. Thanks for joining us. Tell all your friends, and make sure you've downloaded the 420 Radio app for your Android phone. We need to get a whole lot more downloads to move on to the next step. Even if you don't plan on using it, just download it. Make the download happen. Make me happy. For Wiz Khalico and everybody else here at 420 Radio and the Russ Belville Show, thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it. We'll bring you more as it happens, but until next time, take care of each other, tokers.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant